What's up, everybody? It's Chad. I'm back again with another episode of Ask Chad Grassy Logic. I'm here today with my buddy John from Casa Verde here in Cruces. Actually, we're just down the street from the shop, huh?
Yes, sir. We're neighbors.
Heck yeah, man. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course. Happy to be here.
I'm glad. Well, today we're going to be talking about a few topics. Of course, we're going to talk about Casa Verde, but we got a couple other things to talk about. Of course, people not following the rules, getting shut down, and of course, some tax stuff, and a couple more things been coming on that side from that have been coming from those two different sides, from different articles. I know that sounded terrible. From those two different points, there's a bunch of articles that are talking about different things, but the same things, and we'll get more into that throughout the episode. Oh, yeah. But let's get into the episode now. So thank you so much for joining me today, man.
Oh yeah, happy to be here, man. Just want to let everyone know what we're doing here. We've been only for 2 months, so we're fresh, but we're gonna do a lot of things here.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, and it's pretty sure it's a long time coming. You don't just like think about it and you open up like the next month. It was a long time to get up and set up. Like, how long did it take you guys?
So it took us from finding the building we got that in about February. We were open by August.
Okay.
Yeah. So and we didn't get our license till actually 4/19, so we got the day before 4/20.
Okay.
And then we had it open on August 22nd.
Okay.
So about 4 months.
Yeah. So it took it takes a little bit. Did you have to remodel and everything on the inside?
We did remodel. Yeah. It was so we're off Solano, so some of the buildings are a little rough. Luckily the person that we're renting it from did remodel it on the outside. We did some things on the inside too. We built a clear glass wall in the middle, so when you're in the lobby, you can see into the showroom.
Okay.
And then also we have a koi pond we're building as well inside this.
Nice. That's gonna be cool. Yeah, it's such a little. I love koi ponds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I lived in Hawaii for so long. The Ala Moana Mall. It's like a 3-story mall, but it's more like outsidey.
Mm-hmm.
But like in the middle, there's a bunch of koi. The little pond things that have koi all over the place.
They're super smart fish too.
Yeah.
They're very smart. They'll probably outlive us too, so it's interesting.
Right? Yeah, yeah. I love their fins. They're not like a regular fish. They kind of go this way. They kind of swim. They're beautiful. Anyway, so let's talk more about Casa Verde. So who is Casa Verde, and where did the idea come from for you to come from California to New Mexico to start your own retail spot?
So we've been so it's 3 of us. It's me, my wife, and my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved out here from California about 1.5 years ago. We knew the New Mexico market was going to have a good opportunity here. The California market, unfortunately, has been a lot of up and downs. I think corporate cannabis and a multitude of other things kind of ruined the market out there. We did see a new emerging market, and we wanted to use what we've learned over the last 10 to 15 years and help the New Mexico market out here. So we moved out here. We were going to open up in Albuquerque. We were looking around Albuquerque. There was a lot of opportunity. We didn't see like that was going to be the best fit for us. Funny enough, we just drove to the second biggest city in New Mexico. We drove to Las Cruces, and I'll be honest, we probably chose in about 3 hours. We drove around town, just felt really nice. People were so nice to us. It looked like it's like the newest upcoming city because I saw so much new property. Everything was starting to get cleaned up. I like the area as well. So that's why we chose it. We've been here for about 1.5 years, and we would never want to leave here. It's been amazing to us.
Nice, yeah. And you guys kind of blend in with the scene here too. I was like, hey, you could look like you could be from Cruces. So,
yeah. My family's from New Mexico.
Yeah.
So I do know the New Mexico scene pretty well. I've been coming out here pretty much every summer for my whole life, but never been to Las Cruces because it's a little drive down.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is like the hidden treasure of New Mexico.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot more people are moving here. But it's not for a bad reason. It's like they want to live somewhere nice.
Yeah.
And that's just what this place is.
Yeah, it is. It's a very gorgeous place. I grew up in Alamogordo, about an hour away. And we used to come here all the time. We'd come to the mall. We were here constantly for sports.
Yep.
We were playing each other all the time. And of course, the college is here. So most of my friends ended up going to college here. I joined the military. But I'd come and party here. Yeah. We'd come and party here a lot. So yeah, definitely. And it's kind of like, your New Mexico is kind of like how I am with Colorado. My dad's from Colorado originally, so I spent a lot of my summers and winters in southern Colorado hanging out there. So it's kind of the same thing. So I got the full-on feel for how it's been for Colorado since they legalized to like now too. So have the outlook of that. So it's a little different, the way California and Colorado have gone about it. I mean, every state has been different, let's be honest.
Yep.
The way they run it, especially us. I think we've taken a unique route in New Mexico. I mean, coming from California, what do you think?
Oh man, there's a lot more opportunity for success. And what I like is that like many people in the United States are passionate about cannabis, and everyone would dream to have their own farm, have their own dispensary, have all these own things. Unfortunately, in California, if you have those dreams, you need to have like $5 to $10 million.
Yeah.
And that's just not suitable for a lot of people, not realistic for a lot of people. One thing I like about New Mexico is I think that they do value small business a lot more than California does. And I think that they value the farmers a lot well too. So I think that's what's good about New Mexico is I think it's a great opportunity for a small person to get into the industry and hopefully make a good future for themselves.
Yeah, because there's a lot of little local stories where people kind of started making it. You have Calichis,
Yep.
who start out with one, and now they have a few, and they're in other cities now too. And then you have a couple of restaurants here in the city that have kind of gone to other places and
Yeah.
stuff, and they're kind of spreading along. So yeah, we really like to show that love. I do see more kind of bigger places showing up, but they're kind of filling voids that we really don't have, like sandwich spots.
Yep.
We used to have a really good sandwich spot, like a sub place, but they ended up shutting down.
Yep.
And so I see more sandwich spots popping up, and I'm like, I mean, the city is growing.
I mean, I don't think anyone likes corporate anything. I think just what it kind of comes down to is like, even like in the cannabis space, there's just for sure corporate weed. I've worked in corporate weed before. It kind of sucks, but at the same time, if they use their powers for good, which you don't see a lot of people do, but in like for instance, like I'll pick a company like Wild. They do have the general outlook of like corporate cannabis because they are in 14 legal states. But what I will say like about a company with Wild is like they definitely use their money and their influence for good. So they give a lot back to the people. They do very, very good deals. They do a lot of community outreach. Also, one thing I liked about them was when I moved into Las Cruces, I wanted to have like Spanish translated versions of like our material to like be able to help like people understand edible dosing. And they were the only company that were down to do it, and they had it ready. So they have like literally a breakdown of like what terpenes do and which terpenes are in which edible and what they're going to do to you. And I think that was just like admirable. So that's a good part of corporate cannabis. And then you also have ones where it's like you can just feel a cold experience.
Yeah.
And like no one wants that.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Even if it's cheap, everyone wants to feel like they're going to their friend.
Yeah,
to shopping.
100%. The cannabis communities, we're really tight niche, and we're really about community, and like really about the personal experience.
Yep.
So yeah, that makes sense.
It's a lost art though. It's like the more and more we go into like legal cannabis, it's like the more people we didn't want to be here. Are going to be in our space. And I think that's like for people that are really about this life and that have given a good part of their life to cannabis. I think it's like we have to protect this industry because like if the farmers don't make it, then the retailers don't make it. And then if none of those guys make it, then corporate cannabis is going to come and buy them all out. And before we know it, it's just going to be, what we don't want to see.
Yeah, 100%. And we see it in kind of other states too. They've allowed those to kind of take it over. And I think New Mexico, we really saw that. And we're like, no, because I remember, when we were going legal, that was kind of our thing. Is like, no, we don't want corporate cannabis. And, for the longest time, I even touted like, well, why don't we just allow New Mexicans to open up first, and then the corporate guys 3-4 years later, just
that's what was supposed to happen in California. That was supposed to happen. And then there's like shell companies and just ways to sneak out.
Yeah, and there's ways around it. So I think that's what the state saw. Is like, well, and I kind of thought about it too. It's like, well, we're seeing this in California where even if you have that, they're going to find ways around it. There's a loophole, and the way that we wrote the law, there probably would have been some crazy loophole that someone would have lost their company to someone else, whatever. So maybe this was the better route, and it's just that was the way it is.
I think that for the most part they did it well. I do think that like we could talk about it more later, but like I definitely think like the good things they did was like they didn't allow license stacking, which I think is great. Which is like that allows people to like have like 100 acres of weed to have like 100 acres of like land to have like 50 different licenses on that, so they can grow all these crazy plants. I do like that they kept the plant count low. I also think that the unlimited license though is probably not going to help our market, and that's just going to kind of eventually drive down the price of cannabis because the more retailers there are, everyone's got to get it a little bit cheaper, and then one farmer's going to get it cheaper, and then one farmer's going to get cheaper. But I think for the most part, New Mexico's got it down. As long as they're down to listen, to us, I think it's great.
Yeah, and they do for the most part. The only problem with the closure of license is the legislature, since you haven't been here, the whole liquor thing, it's been a bad taste in the whole state's mouth. And I just remember growing up how crazy that got. Those licenses would go up for almost $1 million. And so some people actually bought licenses on the cannabis side, and now they're waiting right now for that day. And I'm like, yeah, but that wasn't good for our state. And it really caused our markets to grow slowly. Only the people with the biggest money were able to get in at that point.
Well, because the more money you got, you can play the long-term game.
Yeah,
and that's
kind of what's happening right now.
And that's what will kill it. And that's what for sure happened in California, which is like you can have companies. I won't name any for specifically, but would say that their intention is to probably lose money for 5 years, and they have the money to do that. We're like, hey, we can build products, which take a loss on them, but create that market share. And then the little guy can't do that.
Yeah.
Like now he's like, oh shit, they're selling it for that much. How are they even doing that?
Yeah.
It's because they're losing money on it.
Yeah.
And that guy can't do it. He'll be out of business in 6 months. And I think that's like what's what we need to protect here in New Mexico, because I think it's gonna be very similar to like prohibition and alcohol, which is like the farmers are like the bootleggers, and the government's gonna want our data, and they want the farmers and the retailers to build the steps on how to create this industry without them having to be a part of it. I think that's why our tax rates are so high in most of these places. And then once the tax rate comes, to a point where you can't even turn a profit anymore, these companies go out of business, and then the big guys come in, buy them out.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, then the tax cuts come right after that for some reason.
And to be honest, these are really good points of conversations, but we can actually tack this on
Oh, yeah,
to the
my
conversation
bad.
we're doing a little later.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
this is great points, and we can get onto this later. I really want to touch on you guys,
I appreciate
Heck
it.
yeah, 100%. I didn't want to stop you there because those are really good points,
Yeah.
though. I just want to save it for the conversation we got later. I'm like, oh great. I was like, oh crap, I got to talk about you
I
guys.
could talk
first.
forever.
Yeah. So speaking of, you are very versed in everything. How long have you been in the cannabis industry itself?
So I've been in the cannabis industry for 12 years.
Okay.
I've been in the New Mexico cannabis industry for 1 year,
Okay.
but I started in California in 2011.
Okay.
And I started as a bartender.
Nice.
I dropped out of college, and I really did see the future of cannabis.
Yeah.
My parents didn't believe in it, but literally just went and took the lowest job I can get. I took a bartender job, which actually is the most important job.
Yeah.
So yeah, in 12 years, I think I've worked almost every part of the industry, from being a bartender to being a manager, being a buyer, selling wholesale cannabis, wholesale distillate. So the only thing I haven't done is grow.
Okay, cool, nice, yeah. That's a pretty big little resume you
Yeah.
got going on there. You kind of touched every part of it, except the grow, which I mean, there's time for that.
I'm not a green thumb. I think
Yeah.
some people are green thumbs, some people aren't. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, I've been growing for 10 years, so
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. I've always been good at growing, so
Oh, yeah.
it just kind of runs in the blood. But speaking of, are you guys planning of doing a grow at any time in the future?
Yeah,
or?
I want to do a grow.
Yeah.
I think we would plan to either do like a micro in town and just do like a small 200 plants.
Yeah,
And just do some really high quality stuff.
Mhm.
I don't think it'll be personally us growing it. What I would want to do is find a trusted operator that knows what they're doing,
Yeah.
and bring somebody in that's just tried and true, and which is, I don't want to have 3 or 4 seasons of questionable weed. I just want to get right to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we would like to have our grow one these days.
That's a smart business move. A lot of people don't think in that aspect, like, well, I don't know how to do it. Either you're not going to do it, or you're going to try to do it, and you're going to spend all these years trying to perfect it instead of just hiring someone
Yep.
who knows how to do it, and you can just throw them in there.
Yep.
That's a smart business move. And that was smart of you to do that. I'm sure you saw other people make the other decision, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Not
so-
like the reason why I don't grow. Not everyone should grow.
No,
You should be
100%.
growing. If you're a green thumb, I don't need to be growing.
Yeah.
And I don't have time to learn.
Yeah, 100%. And there's people that grow way better than me, and I'm like, you should be growing. Look at that, it's beautiful. So, and we'll get to that. And actually, speaking of, what products do you carry at the store? And I know we have some right here in front of us. You can touch on some of these, but what are some of the products that you see really popular right now and all that?
Yeah, I have a couple of ones we're really passionate about. I'll start with the first ones that we're kind of exclusive here too. We do carry Carver Family Farms. They're a micro business out of Albuquerque. We're very lucky to be able to work with them. They have no-till living soil flour. We have rosin edibles. We have rosin carts. They do 1-to-1 tinctures, 1-to-1-to-1 tinctures. Love those guys. We also have Alto Cannabis. They're out of Espanola, small
Shout out to
micro
Alto.
grow. Those guys really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Probably some of the best small batch stuff in the state right now. Very passionate about those guys. We love Green Fuego as well.
Yep.
And then I also brought some Freyer Farms and some High Noon.
Okay.
Freyer Farms are also exclusive here in Las Cruces. That's probably one of the most passionate people I've seen about cannabis. He's really doing it for the people. The genetics he breeds are really about just very unique. You can just tell, when you smoke it, it's 10 out of 10 nose, 10 out of 10 look, and then it smokes just like it looks,
Yeah.
which is very rare these days.
Yeah, it has a very natural look to it right here. Can you see it good, Gino? There you
yeah.
go. All right. Yeah, it smells good. Very dark color,
Yeah,
it's
that's the
super
Bay Area
purple.
truffles. So that's white truffles times Dat Flava, which is Project 4516, and I think lemon cookies, or I'm probably butchering it, but I think it's something like that. We also have High Noon.
Okay.
They're a small grow out of Clovis. They also do. I think they do
Is
low
that the High Noon Colt?
High Noon Colt. Yeah.
Okay, cool. They were
Yeah.
in Sunland Park last week.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, that guy's got some great stuff too. The genetics they bring, they get as clean as edibles out there. I mean, everything we have in store, I think, is amazing. I could say.
Nice,
I could
yeah.
talk for hours about that stuff, but these are the most important ones that I really care about.
Yeah, and it seems like you guys have a really good selection of, stuff that's around the state that, is really out there and up and coming even.
Yep.
Stuff that, like Alto, I'm starting to see it more and more and
Mhm.
more, in other places, and Zach's doing a great job. So shout out to you. He was actually on the show last week. I mentioned that earlier, and, I saw the container. I was like, oh yeah, of course you got this. That's good.
Yeah.
So that's great. I mean, what are some other products that you have in the store that, we are showcasing right here that are kind of your favorite?
My favorites, so I definitely spoke about Farmers. I'll say one more thing about them is that's probably the cleanest kitchen I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, cool.
So that's one thing I always make sure stress when I'm helping people out with this is that you could eat food off the ground of this guy's kitchen.
Yeah.
It's sterile, it's clean.
Yeah.
And when we visited, they didn't even know we were coming.
Yeah.
So it was a random day, and they
Yeah.
keep it to a really, really nice standard. Really like them. I'm a huge fan of wild edibles.
Mhm.
They're very compassionate. I like that they're real fruit. They have a lot of different types of mixtures of subcannabinoids and different types of effects. Big fan of them. Trying to think who else I really like. Goldfish Farms. I
Okay.
started carrying them.
Yeah. Shout out to them.
Yeah, they're a small little spot out of I think out of Socorro.
Mhm.
And what I like about them is that they highlight all of the smaller farmers they work with.
Mhm.
So sometimes people will buy fresh frozen, wash it, make hash, and then it's like, this is my hash. Like, I
Yeah.
did this.
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah, you did that, but you didn't grow the weed. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta shout out the farmer.
Yeah, and that's what we do at Cruces Craft.
Yeah.
We always make sure the farm is on there.
Gotta
It's
shout out
not
the
us.
farmer. I love it. And that's
It's
what
not us.
they
We're
do
shouting
that.
them out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I love Cruces Craft. We have Cruces Craft inside our store as well.
Awesome.
That's without a doubt. Let's see, man. What else, man? I mean, it's all good. I mean, we have Daft. Daft is really good flour. I like them a lot. We started carrying some Green Paradise as well. They're out of Sunland
Okay.
Park.
Yep, I know
Yeah.
those guys.
We keep it fresh. I'll be honest. Every week we're out there searching for really good quality stuff. So we bring it in small batches, and it's like we're either in Espanola, Santa Fe, Albuquerque. Like we're out there going for it. We know
Yeah.
it's not going to come to our door. We will search for that small batch stuff all the time.
Nice. Yeah. It's always interesting to see what new little farms there are because, I was at that Sunland Park pop up and there's some farms I never heard of
Yeah.
before. And so, like the High Noon Colt, that was the first time I ever ran into.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first time I ever heard of them. We actually set up right next to them.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
we got to hang out pretty much the whole event. Got to talk to him and everything. And he had some really good weed.
Yeah, you
So-
can tell when someone's about it. Like
Yeah.
it's just like the quality is like right there. Like the only thing I get scared about is when sometimes weed's too pretty. Sometimes it doesn't like burn right.
Yeah.
And like Freyer and all these dudes here, it's like they grow like aesthetically perfect weed and it just smokes perfect.
Yeah.
It's like that's how it's supposed to be.
It is, we're in a legal market, and I feel like New Mexico, we're getting better quality cannabis than when it was on the medical side. Because I've been a patient in this industry since 2013,
Yeah.
and so I've seen it go from super boof, which is now a cute name that everyone uses.
Oh,
for
this
cultivar.
was actually boof back.
Yeah,
in
like,
the day.
like actually Reggie, like super literally boofy shit, not like the good boof. So yeah, it was like really mids, subpar stuff, and it stayed like that for the longest time. And now we're kind of seeing it get better. And I called this for the longest time. I said, when we allow more people, because we only had 30-something producers, and there's some people in producer-wise and business-wise that want to get back to that kind of idea. And I'm like, no, that didn't work for us. That caused so many issues. Oh my God. Because, we're such a rural state. We're so spread out, that model didn't work. Having just a few producers just for everybody, I'm like, no, because
that makes no competition. And I think that like the more cultivators you have, they're just like like last year, let's say you take the first year of legal cannabis, it's like there was of course amazing cultivars and great people producing great weed, but also at the same time like you could get away with selling mid-tier weed just because it's newly legal and all that stuff. So I think that a lot of people didn't understand that like, give it like a year or two, and a lot more people are going to come to the state that know what they're doing. And sometimes they're from New Mexico, sometimes they're not. It doesn't really matter as long as the people are getting the best quality cannabis. At the end of the day, that's really what matters.
Yeah, 100%. And may the best business win at the end of the day too. And that's really what it goes down to. And speaking of getting back to the business, and I'm sure the listeners are really going to appreciate this one. What kind of discounts do you guys offer?
Oh yeah, we love discounts, man. We do. So first off, one thing that we do is that we eat the sales tax on everything. So we're eating the 20% between the excise, the city, and the state.
Holy shit!
So without a doubt, I believe we have the cheapest prices in town.
Okay.
We also offer 10% off to student, 10% off to like emergency response workers. If it's indigenous, we do indigenous 10% as well. We also do 30% off for terminal. So if you are like terminal cancer or anything like terminal disease, we'll pretty much give you the weed for free.
So you guys are really all about patients too.
Oh, all about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
appreciate
that's what we started on. Is like it was a compassionate program.
Yeah.
And of course, it's legal now, so everyone's going to make their money. There's a lot of overhead, but I think that we can't forget about the medical patients.
Yeah.
There are a lot of medical patients in New Mexico, a lot more in Las Cruces than I anticipated actually. So we're here to give them we don't need to be making the most on medical items.
Yeah.
Like that's really not why we're here. That we really just want to help people.
Yeah.
And I think that there's still money to be made with helping people without taking advantage of them.
Yeah, and it's great that you say that because the actual law or medical cannabis law is actually called the Lynn and Aaron Compassionate Use Act, and the compassionate part was kind of lost at a long time ago. So I'm glad that you guys are picking it up and you're actually bringing the compassionate part that's actually in the name of the law and the spirit of it. So that's actually really honorable of you guys.
Yeah, man. It's I don't think that we should be making like recreational markups on medical items. Of course, everyone needs to make money to stay afloat. Like we can't provide medical if our retail goes down.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like we see probably like 30 or 40% of our people are probably medical that come in.
Yeah.
We make sure that we're definitely trying to make the least on it. I want to make sure they walk out happy and that they don't feel that like they can't sustain themselves medically anymore.
Yeah. Nice. I'm interested to see the sales. Because most dispensary sales, you see the rec sales up here and the medical under it. I'm interested to see if it goes like this for you guys.
I've seen a lot of medical sales in Las Cruces.
Nice. Yeah. I worked really hard back in the day to help people get their medical cannabis cards and to let them even know that medical cannabis is a thing in New Mexico. Because for some reason, it was only Albuquerque that like knew, it felt like anyway, that medical cannabis was a thing in New Mexico. Southern New Mexico, we were so stuck in the past with certain things, and the way that they wrote the law initially, didn't really help. So strict and
Oh
everything
yeah.
here.
You can if you accidentally got out of your hand to someone else, it's like super illegal. You can't smoke a joint near someone, and like I heard
Yeah,
a
you
lot
could
of
even
like
share a joint with another patient.
yeah,
Like if we had a both medical cannabis card, I had a joint, I couldn't give it to you. We had to
yeah,
have our own joints. It
oh, yeah,
was ridiculous. So, I'm glad that things changed around 2018, 2019.
oh, yeah.
And so that was really nice because there was a lot of work that went into it advocacy wise, and I'm glad that the state did listen to a lot of, our suggestions and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I was on the SM 105 task force, and one of my things was consumption lounges.
Yep.
Consumption lounges was my baby. So a lot of the language with that went into the bill and everything. So that was pretty cool to see.
I'm also really glad they didn't cap medical edibles at 100 milligrams.
Oh, God,
That's
me
one thing
too.
California did, and like
Yeah.
they're like it's just like 100 milligrams. Like that sucks. Like
Yeah,
if
it
you
does.
think about it, it's like that's too much sugar content to
Yeah.
be able to get the medicine you really want. So I'm
Yeah.
really glad that New Mexico did that.
Yeah, because you have people, cancer patients, they kind of have to take a lot.
Yeah.
So
10 bags of gummies is not good.
yeah,
It's too much
no,
sugar.
like if you can get like a 300 milligram, same package kind for 100 milligram,
Yeah.
that's a lot better for them.
Oh yeah.
They don't care if it tastes, whatever. They're trying to get the medicinal
Yeah.
aspect of it. So 100%. So you were talking about, at the beginning with your company. Who else is involved? You said your girlfriend or your wife?
It's
Or?
my wife. Yeah, my
Yeah.
wife Desiree. She's the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, and then my business partner Anthony. He's the Chief Operating Officer.
Awesome. So all three of you kind of just, man down the fort by yourselves, huh?
Yeah, so we all of us have at least like 10 to 12 years campus experience.
Okay.
Anthony's been doing retail sales director jobs in cannabis retails forever.
Mhm.
I've done procurement for retails. I've done bulk sales. My wife Desiree is really really good at marketing. So I think we all kind of bring a little something different to the table. One thing I know for sure is that we're very good at running retails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And you guys have a lot of experience, and it looks like you guys have all your little niches that kind of come together, and make it, the Megatron.
Oh yeah, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and 100%. So, what made you pick that spot? Because I've been there. Real nice spot. You guys did do an amazing job on the inside. I can't wait to see the koi pond, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
What made you pick that one here in town? Was it like the main access road, or was it just kind of?
We always wanted to be off Solano.
Okay.
One for the traffic. I like the traffic. I do like that there were some surrounding neighborhoods in there. So I've always thought it'd be really nice to like, if there was like neighborhoods close to our dispensary that we could like help out neighborhoods, do initiatives, do park cleanups. Maybe like do some like toy drives and stuff for Thanksgiving. I want to be able to like actually help the local neighborhood. Of course, we want to help this whole city of Las Cruces. That's without a doubt. But I also do like interacting with like the locals, like the real locals over there. And we got very lucky with that location.
Yeah.
We were looking at some other locations on Solano, and they weren't in the best condition. And then that one just came on the market. We got very lucky with it, and we're really blessed to be there.
Nice. Yeah. It is a really nice little one. I remember driving by and it just kind of popped up one day. I'm like, oh, another one?
Yeah.
And, I was kind of like, who's that?
DJ Khaled, another one.
Yeah. And another one. That's a good one. Yeah. And then speaking of, with you guys trying to do stuff with the community, you came to the industry sesh town hall.
Yeah.
And that was great. I went in person and met you guys. And of course, I knew you guys were going to be on the show eventually because that was scheduled. But, it was really great to touch base, see you guys face to face and, really hear who you are. And that's one reason why I started this show. So that way we can get more of a personal experience of, the owners and the people in this industry. So, you're open to sharing your experiences here, and actually your experiences all together, because it's not really, majority of it isn't in New Mexico. It's in another state. So you come from something else, and that's great. You can bring something else to another state and bring that experience here. But what else do you have planned on participating wise, industry wise? Because community wise, you guys are doing all kinds of stuff. What kind of stuff do you want to do with the industry to participate?
I mean, I'm down to share. Like, I think first off, we should all listen to each other. So when I go to those events, like my main focus is like one, I want to speak my truth.
Yeah.
And then two is I want to listen to other people.
Yeah.
I think we really need to listen to each other. I also don't think that there's like any type of like gatekeeping in like cannabis. There's no room for that. So no one learned what they learned by themselves. It's not like everything I've learned was like, oh, this is all my information that only I learned and I looked it up and shit like that. It's like we all learn from someone else. So I wouldn't know anything without my mentors. I'm hoping that I get to mentor some people one day. So my goal would be to help other people understand kind of like what we need to do to survive. We are in a fresh market here. I've seen what can happen in California where if we don't play our cards right, it can all go down.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely about it. Like I really want to see the whole industry make it, especially the farmers. So,
100%.
I'm always transparent. I try to work with people. I'm not here to like haggle with like farmers and stuff like that. Like I want to make them the most that they
Yeah.
can. But really though, it's just, I want to listen to people and I'll give them anything I got. They're down to listen.
Yeah, yeah, because a lot of the business owners, they don't want to go to like city council hearings, they don't want to go to like CCD stuff or Santa Fe on Cannabis Day.
Got to do these things.
Yeah, that's like a part of being in the industry is we kind of all have to do that, do our due diligence.
Oh yeah, like what are we like? Are we going to be so ignorant to think that like, all right, government's got it?
Yeah,
Like, all right, city council's got it.
Yeah.
Like,
They
they
don't.
like, they're all weed smokers. They've all been
Yeah.
selling weed their whole life, and same with the government too. They've always
Yeah.
they really don't understand it. Really, all they really want from us is money, which is great. Like, I think we should be taxed. It's got to happen,
Yeah.
or else they wouldn't be doing this for us. But it is our duty to be able to educate our representatives, because 99.9% of these people don't understand the simple nuances of what it takes to make sure this industry survives.
Yeah.
So I think we need to be able to say these things to them, hopefully in in a calm manner.
Yeah.
No government's perfect, and I think they're probably messing up more than doing good.
Mhm.
But the fact that they listen, and I think we have a smaller state here that we can kind of like convince them to do what we want.
Yeah.
I think sometimes in California it's a lost cause. It's like too many politicians have been like pocketing too much cash, so it's like it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think we have a way better chance out here.
I've had, that's funny you say that. There's been a few people from California that have actually told me and actually are shocked that your politicians actually listen to you
Yeah, I
guys there.
can't
I'm like,
believe it.
I was like, only 2 million people here. They don't really have a choice.
Oh yeah.
Like
Or even opening a business, like if you're trying to be a small business owner in like LA,
yeah,
it's like like those inspectors deal with just a whole mess of shit.
yeah,
And it's like to be a small business owner in a big city like that, it's very intimidating. One thing I will say about Las Cruces is like they were like very open, very easy. I've never been able to communicate with like a city so easily in my life, and it was really refreshing.
yeah. It is. Even with our state government and our state representatives. I mean, I have a couple of state representatives on my Facebook.
Yep.
It's,
The CCD answers like they're cool. Like,
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They walk around with like weed socks and stuff. They got like weed lanyards. Like, hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah.
And they're really there to help you. They're not trying to screw you over. Like if you're not following the rules, the laws, and you're just being a jackass, then of course they're going to come down on you.
But you're trying. They care. Like I was telling you earlier, like one of the like in California, I would be very, very scared of like the DCC agents. Like they're very intimidating and they kind of like they hustle.
Yeah.
But out here, like our local person, like they came in and inspected us. Like we were very freshly open. Like we just opened up. And the first thing she said when she walked in was like, "Hey, listen, like I'm not here to shut down a small business. Like I'm here to help you become more compliant."
So you
and
got
like right
inspected
there,
already.
oh yeah, we got inspected 6 days open.
Oh.
Yeah, so for sure a little quicker than we were inspected.
Yeah,
We expected. But the experience, even though it was a long experience, it was a very like non-intimidating experience.
Yeah.
So nothing what I've ever been used to.
Yeah.
It was really nice. I feel like she actually cared to see us do better, and we obviously listened exactly what she did. So we had a list of things. We did them, emailed them back, got it all done. So I had a very good visit. It was nice.
Nice, that's great that you tell that because there's a lot of new business owners out there who are probably shitting bricks right now. Like, oh my God, the CCD is going to come one day. They're going to come down on me. They're going to crack the whip, whatever it is.
Well, the nervous ones are the guys that are doing the illegal things.
Yeah.
So we weren't nervous. It was just more unsuspected.
Yeah.
But they definitely broke it down really easy for us. So it was cool.
It's great when they're able to break it down Barney style because I love it when people are able to break it down Barney style. It just makes it easier to understand. That way, moving on, there'll be no more issues, and I can just fix it. And now I know, and I learned something. And we all learn something from the mistakes that we make. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Cool. So, do you have any events coming up or anything planned for the business or anything like that?
So we're for sure going to be at Hash and Hetty's.
Okay.
We're sponsoring Hash and Hetty's in Rio Doso, December 16th, December 17th.
Okay.
We're going to have very, very good deals there. Obviously, we're not selling anything there, but we're going to be doing a lot of raffles. We're going to have a lot of exclusive merch. We're going to have like Freyer, hopefully Alto. We're thinking about having some concentrate, like maybe Carver or like Z Labs there as well.
Nice.
So we just want to make sure like we make that experience like a very, very special experience for people there. We also are planning a meet and greet with Mexican OT in January.
Yeah.
So that's where we haven't picked the date yet for our grand opening, but we are going to do it.
Huh?
We are going to have a chicken. We're going to have a chicken.
All right.
We're going to have a chicken, maybe a couple chickens. I know you said you're going to give me one.
Yep. I got 5.
Yeah.
I got 5 on it.
And we also want to do like some cowboy hats.
Yeah.
Like some like Casa Verde cowboy hats, and they can sign the cowboy hats and stuff. So,
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're doing that. We don't know the exact date, but it will be in January. And then we're also planning some kind of like exclusive like tasting sessions. And we have a second unit that's a private unit.
Okay.
And we want to do things with like we bring Freyer down or Carver down or Alto. And like if they have a plant they're working on that's like I have a pheno that like I haven't released yet. We want to bring down maybe a couple ounces. We want to have like 10 people an hour and be able to like sit there and like taste some new flower, be able to Q&A with the farmer, get a little T-shirt,
A
get a
little taste
lunch.
panel,
Yeah, and it's like, of course everyone likes the customer appreciation days where you get to see the guy inside the dispensary.
Yeah,
But we want to try to create some more like intimate experiences where people really get to like meet the farmer, get to meet the
Yeah.
extractor, meet the edible maker, asking questions they've always been wondering about, and
Yeah.
I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, and sometimes I guess I take for what I do for granted because I get to meet all these guys,
Yeah.
and I get to get the personal. So, the general public doesn't really get to, experience the same thing that I do.
Yeah.
If they watch the show, they kind of get a glimpse,
Oh, yeah. Oh, and if you like the farmer, you love the weed then. So
Yeah,
if
exactly,
you already
100%.
love the weed, and and you get to meet the guy, you're like,
Yeah.
damn, dude, that's the guy growing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or that's the girl growing it. Like
He's not some
it's
Brad or Chad,
special.
Yeah.
Hey, it's all right. It's all right.
No, I get it all the time, especially being in this fucking industry.
That's a tough one, man. That's someone ruined it for you.
Oh yeah, like in the army, it was just everywhere. I couldn't get away from it. It was like, oh, you're a brown guy with the name Chad. That sucks for you. And I'm like, people can say my name though. So, it's all kind of ways. I've gotten it my whole life, so it is what it is. They just decided to use that one. So I just feel like there's other names that could have used, like, I don't know, Gordon.
Yeah, I think what was it, like 2 years ago? I think like not one person was like named Karen.
Yeah.
Like it was like no one named their child Karen.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just a risky name right now.
Yeah,
like
no, like even knowing someone Karen, it's like, okay, Karen.
Yeah. They wake up like, I gotta be nice today. Damn it, I can't be a bitch. Like,
right. So beside the koi fish, what other plans do you have for the shop?
You know what? We want to put some more art in there.
Okay.
So I want to have some like local art. We really want to do a mural on our back wall.
Yeah.
So I'd love to have a mural that kind of becomes like an iconic like Las Cruces piece.
Mm-hmm.
So we're thinking of like doing something that's just like if you're driving by, even if you don't like weed, you're gonna see that mural on our back wall. And I gotta pull over and take a picture in front of that.
Are you guys gonna keep it New Mexico style? Because I don't know if you've noticed, if you go to certain places or a lot of places, you can buy the art right off the wall. Are you guys gonna allow that too? Like you have the prices on it?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I definitely like a couple of New Mexico artists though. So we have like some Pudding Head artists who's out of Albuquerque.
Yeah.
I also want to do some cool like old cowboy art in there, like maybe some like Billy the Kid stuff.
Yeah.
A big dream would be like on our front. I want to put like a stagecoach.
Oh, that's cool.
Like
that's dope.
Yeah, so the people will not take advantage of it, but
I mean, there's a lot of Billy the Kid history down here, so like I grew up in Billy the Kid country, in the area, so that's definitely. I'm glad you guys are doing that.
So that's our plans. So far, I mean, the store is really nice on the inside. The only thing we want to put is like koi pond. We'll have that ready in January.
Nice. So you're gonna spruce it up. Awesome. I can't wait to see everything's going on. So
Yeah.
where can people find Casa Verde, like in Cruces, in Cruces and online, like social media and all
So I mean,
that
we're at 795 South Solano next to the trampoline park, Sky Jump. You can find us on Instagram, Casa Verde Las Cruces. We're on Weed Maps. We're on Facebook, and we are on Google.
Awesome. So you guys are found all over the place.
You can find us. Not hard to find us.
Heck yeah. Awesome. And I'll try to get that in the description for you guys too, so you can get the links and everything.
Oh yeah, appreciate that.
So awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on the show with me, and I can't wait to continue on with some of the conversations we were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate it, and Casa Verde, everyone. So thank you.
Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on to the next topics. I really wanted to talk about these ones because it's weird that these articles are different, but then they have something to do with each other. So. First off, it looks like the regulators or the CCD and the police, they really want more control. And when I say control, they just want to be able to regulate the industry correctly on how they should. And I agree. Last year when they were pitching, we need to have the authority for this and this. And I was like, why do you need this and this? But now I'm like, okay, they need to be able to go in, and if someone's doing something bad, they need to be able to take action almost right away.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if someone is selling moldy weed, or if they're selling out-of-state weed, they need to be going and shut them down right away.
Oh, yeah.
That should be the kind of power they have. Now we need to be careful when we give them that power because, of course, any power can be, abused.
Yeah.
But I do agree that the CCD does need to have more power to shut these places down that aren't being honorable. Because that's one of the reasons why we're so overly saturated too, is because under regulation, these places I've been to some of them, I'm like, how are you open?
Yeah, dude, that's a big problem. And like, I can't speak from anywhere of like uncompliance because I don't understand that. But I think that one thing the CCD could do is they need to be a little harsher with their punishment.
Yeah.
So it's like the problem is like, okay, there's like low entrance fee into the market, so it doesn't cost much to get a license. So I think they're kind of like ratioing it to like what the punishment is. But it's like, if someone like is bringing in like out of state weed, don't fine them $1,000.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't give anyone incentive to like not do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like the punishments are so weak that it's not scaring people.
Yeah.
Enough to follow the rules.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is that like our industry will always have problems because it's always going to be a mix of people.
Yeah.
There's always going to be enough people doing the right thing. There's always going to be a bunch of people doing the wrong thing,
Mhm.
and that makes it hard for the people doing the right thing to make money.
Yeah.
So I definitely think they need to be a little more on top of it. They need to enforce it harder.
No, 100%. You know, that's what they're saying is, you know, the law needs to change first for them to be able to do that.
Got it.
So, you know, I agree because sometimes like, okay, you know, we'll call it CCD. Like, say if there's an illegal dispensary,
Mhm.
you know, it doesn't fall under the CCD. It falls under the police because the CCD only goes after licensed entities.
Yep.
They can't go after non-licensed entities. So that's one way that those guys have
Ah.
been able to skate under the radar for so long because there's not that working togetherness of the CCD and the police. Where both can go in because the CCD could go in and be like, well, where's your license at, et cetera, this and that, and then shut them down from there. But they can't do that right now.
Yeah, I would definitely want if I was a CCD, I'd definitely want a cop coming with me to shut down someone.
Yeah, me
like,
too.
Especially if it's a legal location. Like, I definitely want to be going there, like sending in like, you know, nice little girl, and they're like, hey, you guys can't be here, and then like, you know, then they're fucked. It's like, I think that's definitely like they should be working hand in hand. I don't think that we should be giving like the cops authority to like handle shit on their own, but definitely they need to work hand in hand and like they should be tackling things like together.
Yeah. I think so because the CCD, what it looked like they wanted to do at first was have compliance actual officers.
Yeah.
So they would be peace officers doing the job of the CCD.
Yep.
So it would be a faster probably thing, you know, when it comes to it. But then you have to either take officers and train them on the cannabis side, or take a cannabis person and train them on the officer side. When you can just take both and just send them together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know. Weed cops sound a little scary.
Yeah, that does. No, weed and cop just doesn't go together. Yeah, so you know, if you have the CCD and a cop, that makes a little more sense
Or if
to
you
me.
just have like some like super loose dudes, like a total stoner, like coming up to us like, hey, bro, you can't be like doing this, bro.
It's like, look, normally, man, you know, you'd get like fined for this, but like,
But let it slide.
Yeah, just this one time though, okay? All right, I'll see you guys later.
Pass him the gives the joint, leaves. Like,
Yeah, you know, so yeah, it kind of that worries me too.
Yeah.
And I trust the state to do a better job in hiring when it comes to that aspect, but yeah, that seems like it could go south really quick. And it could go both ways. That's why I'm saying we have to be careful on the power that we do give them. And I'm saying we because if you guys didn't know, our legislators, they work for votes. And if we don't like what they're doing, we can vote them out. And so it's a good idea to tell them what we want. And so, you know, we do that by contacting our representatives. And here in New Mexico, it's actually really easy. You know, you can actually email them. Sometimes they respond on Twitter.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's why I tag them all the time on Twitter.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, my freaking cotton mouth right now. But yeah, so to me, this just seems like, you know, a no duh. But it's just really the legislators, or not the legislators, excuse me. These are the regulators and the police, you know, really getting together like, hey, look, because the police are even like, look, you know, if someone sells cannabis, you know, a non, you know, licensed person, you know, it's just a misdemeanor.
Yep.
But if you have more than 8 ounces, it's a 4th-degree felony. And I'm kind of like, that is kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like it could be the other way around. Like, you know, like I should be able to possess because at home you can possess however much you want.
Yep.
You know, so I kind of feel it should be kind of flipped the other way around. Like if you're selling it illegally, you know, it should be kind of more harsher punishment. You know. And,
Well, I heard in like Albuquerque they were trying to like ban people from growing.
Yeah. There was a city council member who introduced that, and it wasn't very popular, and it didn't even make the schedule or the agenda. So yeah,
maybe like just maybe have less weed shops.
Right. Yeah. And you know, it's slowly changing. You know, the numbers going down. We're kind of doing this thing right now, but if it does go up, it doesn't go up as where it was, and then it just goes back down. So we're seeing a trend of downwards, but we'll see. We've only been 18 months in this, so you know, it's still a new industry here, and we're kind of on a sped up timeline. And I say that a lot because we are. You know, I've watched all these other states since, you know, they've gone legal, and it took them a few years to get kind of where we are with, you know, our timeline, you know, like maybe 3 or 4 years, and, you know, it's 18 months. And I'm like, holy shit, that's fast. You know,
oh yeah, when California first went legal, there wasn't even like metric wasn't even in place yet.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like legal, but it's like, you know, we're still doing like hand paper receipts.
Yeah.
So it's New Mexico definitely like kind of took it and went right with it.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, another thing with the regulator thing, they also want to have powers to destroy the cannabis. So if they confiscate cannabis, they don't really have a way to destroy it or anything in the law that allows them to. So, you know, and I agree, because if they go to a grow and it's illegal, or they have more plants than they should have, you know, you can't really trust that person to destroy it, you know, because they're just going to ship it on a truck out of state, or, you know, do something with it. So they should be able to take those plants and destroy it.
Do they have like third party like cannabis destroyer companies?
No, that's a good idea.
Because they have those in California. It's called like Gaiaca or something like that, and it's a literally a company that comes up to your like grow or your like dispensary, and when you have weed that's like, you know, samples that you have to get waste of, they literally come in and they put like cement and like cat litter and like toothpaste, and they have like a formula of shit they blend it in with, so it's like literally like unusable.
Oh wow.
And it's like a third party company that comes and takes it for you.
Yeah.
And it's just like
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because here in the state, with unusables, you're supposed to compost it.
Yeah.
Like with the dirt. And I've been to farms where they have a big old mound of unusable shit, and I'm like, this seems a little weird. So I
Yeah.
kind of feel that a business like that should be allowed. I don't know. I mean, I don't see why not. If you render it unusable, why a business like that shouldn't be around. But that's a good idea.
I mean, because it is medicine, so like once it's been like tampered with, like you definitely don't need to be like definitely can't give that shit out to people. Like,
Yeah.
you can't be giving that out. Like, yeah, no, I'm sure some shops smoke it, but at the end of the day, they should have someone that just like comes in, third party takes care of it, takes it off your hands, no liability.
Yeah, and right now, business would be a booming because they're finding, these illegal grows.
Yep.
They're not just finding them like, in the cities or just places that have a license that is growing more. These are actual illegal grows that they're found sometimes, so they could do both the legal illegal plants and the illegal plants.
Oh yeah, I think the farm bill kind of like made it so like outdoor growers could like grow like all this freaking hemp.
Yeah.
And then like let's just put like a little bit of weed in the middle.
Yeah.
Like oh, just on this row right here. You know, we'll have some real weed right here. Then what are they gonna find out?
And then hot hemp was a thing for a long time.
Oh,
Hot hemp was hot for a hot minute. So
because like at that point it's like no one could even tell the difference between like outdoor and hemp.
Yeah.
And it's like no one's really smoking it. And it's that's tough.
Yeah, no, it is because it looks freaking the same.
Yeah.
And the only difference that it is
just a little bit of THC difference. That's it.
Yeah, it's like the difference between green chili and red chili. Like one's just more mature than the other.
Yep.
It's really what it is. Like, that's the difference between the hemp these days. Because you have an actual hemp plant, but they defined hemp legally as anything under 0.3% of THC, and so that could be any cannabis plant under 0.3%. So if you pick it early, you're going to be under that threshold. And then they found a way around that by the THCA.
Yeah, I was literally about to say that, man. I've been seeing that pop up.
I saw that coming on your face. I saw it on your face. I was like, I know what he's thinking of.
Dude, they got that down because it's like that's like all of it is THCA.
Yeah.
So it's like all the weed we have is THCA.
Yeah.
And then you smoke it, then the THCA converts to THC.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a very they're definitely that's probably what's gonna ruin it for the farm bill. My guess is that they're like the Delta 8 like all right whatever, like the CBD like whatever.
Yeah,
like, even like the new ones like the HHC,
the
THCO acetate, they're like all right, kind of pushing it whatever. Now we're going all right THCA like all right you fuckers like you ruined it like we're shutting this shit down.
It's like no can't do it no more because if you guys don't know THC before it becomes THC, it's actually THCA, and the A stands for acid. And when you heat it up to a certain temperature, that acid goes away, and then you're left with THC, and then it thus becomes psychoactive. Before that, it's actually not psychoactive.
Yep. So you can't like eat weed and get high.
Yeah. So if you like munch on it, now there is a little bit of activated cannabis usually in there when it's in the flower, and it's not very much. And normally it's under that 0.3% threshold, especially if it's hemp. So keep that in mind. So yeah, you can't really eat it, raw form and get high. That's why when you make edibles, you have to actually activate the cannabis flower before you infuse it, or else you're not going to feel anything.
But I guess they're going with the I guess only THC is illegal.
Yeah.
So like THCA, they got to write a whole new bill.
Yeah. It's like the A on means acid. That's not THC.
I'm gonna guess like 6 months or like to a year this shit comes to a halt because I think us personally too. Like I would love to see the end of gas station weed.
Oh, me too, dude.
It's like
I'm
it's
so
like
tired of that.
It really puts a bad stigma on cannabis because I don't know personally because I'm not in that part of the industry, but I just don't think it's regulated. As tough as normal cannabis is. So like I don't know if those have a bunch of heavy metals in them. I don't know if they have a bunch of pesticides. Like we really don't know. So yeah, I think that's that I would love to see that come to a halt.
Yeah, because I mean, even like tobacco vapes from the gas station can be sketch sometimes. Think about it. I'm talking to the audience, like don't buy your weed from the gas station is what I'm trying to say. Or your blinkers, don't be getting that stuff from the gas station, Delta 8, O10, whatever it is. So, and this kind of goes back to, them being able to shut these places down. The RLD is also asking lawmakers, hey, we need more authority to be able to shut these places down. And, we'll get back to the conversation at hand because, there's a lot of good points in this, but keep us on track. So sometimes they're having to wait for weeks for a district court to like weigh in, and so they don't want to do that, and that makes sense because if you have to wait for a district court to either weigh in or sign something or sign the warrant, it could take time, and people could take those plants, and all of a sudden they're not breaking the law anymore. So if the CCD goes in and they see the infraction like that, they can just right away shut it down, pull the license, whatever, especially if it's someone who's been breaking the law, or been breaking the rules, it's like, dude, we already told you, all right, we're taking your license because One lawmaker said this during one of the committee hearings here in Cruces not too long ago, and actually, it wasn't on here in Cruces; it was online. I watch so many, I forget where they are sometimes. He said the cannabis license doesn't belong to you; it belongs to the state. You're not entitled to the license. It is it's not a right. Like you're not entitled to it at all. The state owns that license, and that makes sense because when they yank your license, you have to give it back, and every year you have to reapply for it. So
It's true.
yeah.
So it's almost like we're just like borrowing it.
Yeah, it's like we're borrowing it. It's almost like, okay, thanks for letting us borrow it. And it's true. We don't own that license whatsoever. It's being given to us for a fee.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could look at it like the fact that we're still able to sell weed legally, though.
Yeah.
It's like I count my blessings. It's like
Yeah.
like it could be a lot worse. The fact that they're like, all right, go ahead, go do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, all
As long
right.
as they get their cut.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you get your cut. And this is the game we all decided to play.
Yep.
Like, and if you're gonna play this game, you got to play it.
No, yeah, we chose to like get in bed with the government pretty much. Like, all right, like you want to sell weed like legally, you put your name on freaking documents. Like this is like very not what any of us are used to.
Yeah.
And like being on podcasts and like just putting your name on like, yeah, I sell weed for a living. Like it's different now.
Yeah, if you're gonna trap for the government, you're gonna pay government trap prices. If you're gonna trap by yourself, you're gonna be on your own with that way too. So I mean,
the government needs their points too. They gotta get their points.
Yeah, exactly. They gotta get theirs too. So and now the second part of this that I wanted to weigh in. So Duke Rodriguez, I don't know if you know who he is. He's from Ultra Health. He's the CEO of Ultra Health. I've known Duke for years. So he was in an article recently, and they released stuff talking about the Cannabis Control Division and the Tax and Revenue Department. And his issue is that his math and his bean counters and everything, the math that they're doing isn't adding up to what's really being sold and the plants out there, et cetera, which I can agree because there's a lot of fraudulent shit going on out there. There's a lot of tax fraud going on out there. There's a lot of people reporting plants that are being grown that aren't being grown. We'll get more to that here in a minute. So I mean, I can kind of agree with that, and I can see where he's coming from.
So what he's saying is like, yo, I'm looking at the data, and we are growing 1 million plants, and there's only 600,000 plants being sold to cannabis dispensaries. Is that what he's saying?
Sort of. It's more or less how much we're selling. We should be making this much, and we're only getting this much. So what's going on? And I think it's not.
That's a rhetorical question.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right. It is a little bit of a rhetorical question. Yeah, and there's there's a bunch of data and stuff. There's a bunch of math, and I'm not going to confuse everybody on here because I got a bunch of data on here. But one thing I will say is that the agency spokesperson they actually rebutted what Duke said and said actually what he said is incorrect. Blah blah blah. So there's actually some discrepancies. I'm not too sure whose math is correct, and that's one reason why. You can't rely solely on the math because you're not sure if that person's math is correct or if they add and plugged in all the correct data or if they even accounted for stuff that you don't know, like the unknown foreseen things.
I think that in these types of situations, and this is just my personal opinion, is I think that they need to get people that are like small business owners kind of fighting these fights, and I think that when you see a chain of dispensaries fighting for like we're not making enough, it kind of comes off like a personal thing.
Yeah.
Where I think it's like it sounds like they're fighting for themselves on that one.
Yeah, it does.
I do think that is true though. That's a very valid fight. I just think that we need to have someone probably like smaller representatives. But it doesn't look like it's just like like I'm just trying to feed my own dispensaries here.
Yeah.
Like, I think they should do it though. Because it's not a fact. Like there's most likely just the way it is in California. There's probably a lot of weed going outside the state.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
And one thing I will say on this is the reason why that this is happening is Duke was the only one who would sue back in the day. He would sue the state. He would sue whoever. And to be honest, all of his lawsuits only benefited us in the long run. But I think people got too comfortable with that, and they don't realize that you can sue the government. So if you're a business entity out there, you don't agree with the rules, the laws, whatever, or you feel that it's being interpreted wrong by the CCD, because the CCD, they only follow the law to how they interpret it. And the law allows them to do that. So if you don't believe that it's being correct, you can sue them. And if the judge agrees, then they have to overturn their interpretation to what the judge tells them. So this is what has happened many times. This is actually how we got tax-free cannabis cemented. Was in the state of New Mexico, all medication is tax-free. And so since cannabis is considered a medication, it has to be tax-free, regardless of what state law says, because it's like a state Supreme Court ruling. So for a while they were taxing cannabis during the pandemic, and so that ruling came down right when it was starting to wind down, and they said no, it says in the law here in the CRA you can't tax it, and It's in in state constitution you can't tax it.
The guy from Ultras was fighting that fight. That's cool.
Yeah, Ultra Health was a part of that
That's
fight.
dope. That's dope.
So and workman's comp was another one that he helped win. So in
yeah.
the state of New Mexico, workman's comp has to pay for your cannabis.
That's dope.
And that's another one that came from that. And it's years and years of stuff. But
Someone's got to do it, man. That's scary sticking up to the government.
it is.
But someone's got to do it.
Yeah, and I think collectively we all could do it on the smaller scale. Like
Yeah.
if you feel whatever, I think we all could do that. But it would take a bunch of us together to do it. It's one of those things. So just let you guys know that you can sue the government if you like. But make sure it's worth it.
Government's gonna have like 20 lawsuits tomorrow. Like,
yeah. Stupid Chad. So here comes the meat and bones of the thing. So remember I said that I think that was just one problem with the taxing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
However, come to find out, BioTrack actually has a glitch right now. Mm-hmm. And in here it's saying in the article it's pretty much that BioTrack's the software there's having glitches. Well, in the past couple of days, I've actually had people reach out to me personally on my messages and tell me about these glitches. And one today, he didn't even know about the message I got the day before about it. And he pretty much told me the exact same thing as a person before him. And I was like, this is crazy because now I have someone telling me that, okay, it's not charging the right taxes. And the way that I fixed it was I had to go in and read the code itself.
Oh, man.
I had to go in and read the code and figure out and learn to read code first and go in and read it like, oh my God, this and this, and nothing's being done. And the other person telling me, yeah, I don't know why it's not charging taxes. They're aware of it, but no one's helping me. No one's getting back to me. I asked him, are you hitting up the state? And I think that's the next move. But, I think that would be your first move if you run into a problem like this, an encounter like that. Hit up the CCD first.
Yeah.
Let them know about your problem, what you're going through, so that way they don't come down on you because they're the regulators.
BioTrack's just a company.
BioTrack's just a company.
Just a company.
Yeah. These people can shut you down. So you want to make sure that they're in the know that you're having issues, and they'll work with you.
Yeah.
If you're having an issue like that, they'll want to fix it and help you fix it because they don't want you to get shut down. That's the opposite of it, especially if you're a small business and you're from New Mexico. They don't want you to shut down. That's the thing. So keep that in mind.
But BioTrack could use a couple more customer service representatives. I could say that.
Yeah.
They're a little tough, man.
It's rough. And the program itself is an app browser. It's a browser app. Excuse me, I'm dyslexia. It's a browser app, meaning you have to use like Chrome and you work on it in there. There's nothing you download, none of that stuff. So that probably doesn't help either. You don't have something physical on your computer that can update and has fancy little stuff. So and I get why they did it because not everybody's going to have a computer to run a certain software like that that's powerful enough. If you use a web browser, more chances than likely you can run that. So that makes sense coming from a technological side. However, it's not working.
No.
Yeah,
I've heard about the glitches. Even I heard about last year there was a time where it's I think it went down for a week.
Yeah.
And they're what the state's all right, everyone just be good.
Yeah.
Everyone just chill for a week.
Yeah.
It's all they're doing is making it just too susceptible for people to take advantage of the system.
Yeah. And right now taxes aren't being charged correctly. They're not being marked correctly. So that falls back on the state and that falls back onto BioTrack. That shouldn't really fall back on these businesses. So some of these places, if you've been hemmed up on it, you may want to contact the CCD about it. You may want to contact a lawyer. Like I said before, you can sue the state when things go bad. So if this is something that you fall under, those are some options that you could take because, they can answer your questions better than I can. But if something like this happens and you're noticing it, contact the CCD immediately. Stop what you're doing. Pause the screen where you are. Take screenshots, whatever. Just make sure you have the evidence there. Take times that this event happened, et cetera, and then call the CCD and make sure that you let them know because they could possibly help fix it, or they can contact BioTrack and kick them in the ass and have them, kind of fix the issue because seems to be kind of a big problem.
BioTrack has to they're a company that's win the contract for the state.
Yes.
So it's it doesn't BioTrack isn't forever. They could just be kicked out and metric in.
And to be honest, this past legislative session, just this past January, February, they did have a bill to come up with our own BioTrack, for us to program it, which kind of scared me because I wasn't too sure how well that would go. I was like, I don't know how that's gonna go. But there are other systems out there, but I do feel there needs to be more, a better option. Do I feel like New Mexico can make that better option? I don't know. I don't. Yeah. I would hate to say no, we can't, but then I would hate to be wrong when we do because we do some amazing shit sometimes. We made the nuke, so we can probably make a better BioTrack. Maybe we would just hire Sandia Labs to do it, or maybe Los Alamos Labs. Maybe they should do it because they can figure that out. But all jokes aside, I do feel that we do need a better tracking system because if
yeah.
people are getting either hemmed up or they're having issues with their business, which could get shut down due to something like this that's not even that's out of their power. This shouldn't be happening. You know,
No, I mean, my biggest gripe with these track and trace systems is like they're literally like setting up the state for failure.
yeah,
Like they
100%.
make it where it's like a fucking five. No offense, sorry the language. Like a 5-year-old could like get in this and like learn how to like backdoor something. Like
Yeah.
it's really bad. They make it too easy, and that sucks because all it does is kill the farmers in the end.
Yeah.
And it's like so I would love to see someone that's just like, yo, this is tight. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like too tight. Like 'cause it's like that's what I want to see. Like something that's just like impenetrable. Like you can't get around it. Like the
Yeah.
fact that they send like flour on BioTrack and it says flower lot.
Yeah.
Like that's like
And
yo,
then-
like what the hell?
And then you can't
like,
add genetics, like that's another part. And then
like inhalable flour. It's like great, man. Like
Yeah.
it's
and then you have some people like, oh well, if it lets you do it, just do it. And I'm like, that's not the right way to do it, though. Like like just because something lets you do it doesn't mean it's not recorded and it's not going to be used against you.
Oh, yeah.
Just because you can do it doesn't mean it's right. Like I can do many things. I can.
The state audit is inevitable.
Yeah.
It will happen. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe next year. But you're gonna get everyone will get audited eventually.
Yeah,
And it's
100%.
coming.
Yeah, and your card just hasn't been pulled up yet, and they might catch you with your pants down.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't want to get caught with your pants down, guys. 100%. So yeah, that's why I feel these two issues kind of mesh together, and when it comes with these, and it's kind of like my into analytical brain coming like, oh, these things have a pattern. Like, oh, look at that. So
History always repeats itself, and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
well, maybe not here.
yeah, hopefully not here, but we have a chance to not repeat history right now. And right now, I kind of feel this issue is kind of bigger than what we're being told, and it's kind of going to be a bigger issue than what we know right now. That's just my prediction on this. Hopefully, I'm wrong, but I kind of feel this is going to be brought up to the light in the next couple weeks because I'm getting messages of this glitch, and that's a big glitch because we're relying on these taxes to set a good example that we can regulate cannabis here in New Mexico, and the fact that cannabis industry will work. And if we can't do something this simple, then we're setting a bad example.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's like really why they need to fix this is like like I'll say it super blatantly. I'm from California. We don't need any fucking California weed in New Mexico.
Yeah,
It's like
100%.
we
Thank
really
you.
just need to have New Mexico weed here.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's leaving New Mexico. I think it's coming in.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to ruin it for us. Is like we don't need Cali weed coming in here.
Yeah.
Like it can go somewhere else, but we don't need it in our industry right now. And I think that's what they really need to cut down on. Is like make it tighter.
Well, speaking of Cali weed, let's move on to the next
Okay,
subject,
okay,
which
let's
actually
go.
has California cannabis involved with it.
okay.
So it looks like another cannabis retail spot was shut down this week.
In California?
In Albuquerque.
Oh, in Albuquerque. Okay.
So these guys were actually not following the rules whatsoever. So the CCD went in, and it looks like they went in earlier this year and did the inspection when all this happened. Because if you look down on the list, the CCD has everybody, all the bad kids. So it looks like the first thing was in January, and then they finally came the other day and they gave them their decision.
Yes.
So these guys, they had almost a dozen infractions. And some of these were some big infractions. The number one that everyone's talking about and that I saw was they had a grow. And they had a license for the grow, but there was never any plants in the grow at any time. But yet they were putting in the BioTrack system, which we were just talking about is flawed, that they were growing plants from seed to harvest, et cetera, et cetera. But there was never one
And every time
plant
the
in there.
CCD comes down, we just happen to chop down. We just clean the room.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever excuse they use, or maybe the CCD showed up one time. Like it's kind of what it seemed like to me. The CCD showed up once and said, "Oh, nobody," because in the reports it said that the agent went in there and did view no plants, no equipment, or anything for growing. Pretty much an empty room. And so these guys, what they were doing is they were taking California cannabis, or actually it said from an unknown place, but I'm pretty sure it's from California. They're going there, bringing it here, and selling it and making their money that way. I was looking at their sales. I mean, at the most they were making, I think, $80,000 was the most they were making, and now they're making about $40,000. Before they got shut down. So it's not like they were making a bunch. So it really wasn't even worth it.
Yeah.
Because in the end, their sales weren't even that high. If they had high crazy sales, I'm like, dang, that sucks. But
Well, I'll tell you because from experience, it's like that system is taken advantage of a lot in California.
Yeah.
You see it all over where you have manufacturing labs that don't have one freaking pipe in there, not one tube. You got micro grows and small grows in LA that don't have one plant in there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what you call like a burner license.
Yeah.
And it's like I think that in California it's a little easier to hide because there's so many people, so many licenses, and just the state doesn't have the bandwidth to check it. I don't think New Mexico has the bandwidth as well, but everyone's going to have their day. And I think that's just like, if that's one that they want to do, run until the wheels fall off, that's great. But it's like, it's going to be harder to hide New Mexico.
No, 100%. It sticks out like a sore thumb like this one. They couldn't hide for very long, because, there's a lot of retail spots here, but we're still a small state. People talk. And also, a lot of these spots are creating disgruntled employees.
Oh, yeah.
And disgruntled employees are the first one to tell on you.
Oh, yeah. They know what's up.
The first one. They know everything.
Yep.
And so if you create a disgruntled employee, guess who's calling the CCD?
That's how it always goes. That's how it always goes. The person you just fired usually is the one that rats you out after. And that's always the way it is.
Yeah, and that's all it takes. That's all it takes is that one person. So I'll just let you guys know that the name of this establishment was Golden Roots in Albuquerque. So if you've ever purchased anything from there, and most likely it wasn't legal. So unfortunately, you weren't supporting local New Mexico.
Yep.
So keep that in mind next time you go to a spot here in New Mexico. If they seem shady, they might be shady and they might not be doing the right thing.
Now, I will play devil's advocate. How do you feel? What do you think? Like Top Crop's duty was in that? Because I feel like they got kind of thrown under the bus on that one.
They kind of did. I mean,
I understand guilty by association. I definitely understand that.
Yeah.
But also, like, you have to look at it like, and I'm just coming from a retail owner perspective because I really like what Top Crop does over there. I think that like I don't want to believe that they really knew what was going on. I think that like our job as a retailer, of course, is to vet the flower.
Yeah.
But let's say like for instance, XYZ grower from Clovis comes in and says, "Hey, I got some really amazing product." He shows me a picture of the grow. It came on BioTrack. It's tested through Argonne Labs. It's like at that point, like that's the due diligence.
Yeah.
I know that if there's rumors of it being Cali weed, then yeah, maybe you should probably stay away from it. But I do think that like they didn't deserve to get thrown to the bus as far as like being like associated to like being like these guys like peddling Cali weed. I think that they were probably like in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And they probably should have looked a little closer. But I think that's like at the end of the day, it's like we do our job, but it's like I can't like go to every single grow and make sure like I have videos of like, hey, where were you yesterday? You weren't coming from Cali, were you? Like it's
and there has to be some trust in the industry at some point.
but
like
someone's
yes,
gonna
we need
ruin
to do a due diligence. But I didn't feel that was fair either. I was like, well, guys, come on. I mean, like these guys, they could have been really good liars. Like you said, you could have showed them this amazing, videos and photos on his phone. Oh, I just took this morning. Shows him the time, whatever. But it could have been his buddy in California sending him the video, whatever. Whatever it was. And this guy was, oh, this guy seems trusty, whatever. Cool. They have all the documentation. Why not? It looks really good. My customers will love this. So I can't really blame the retailer too much more than I can blame the people who were being dishonest and telling people it was grown here.
Oh yeah, they're ruining it for everyone. It's like, it's like just like we really want to buy New Mexico weed here. Yeah, like, that's what we really want to do. And I'll be honest, like there are amazing cultivators in New Mexico.
Yeah, there are.
Like, you may not like know where they're at.
We're an ag state.
Yeah, it's amazing. I found so much good weed out here, like stuff that would night and day, like Pepsi challenge.
Yeah.
Like to anywhere else in the states. Like not just California, Colorado, anywhere. We just have really good weed here.
Yeah, we do. And, we find it all the time. And, I kept telling this when we were in medical. I'm like, we have some really good home growers because a lot of the people that are growing now in the industry, we're all at home.
And those are dudes that got the little micro licenses.
Exactly.
Now they're growing a 10 liter, 20
just
liter.
Killing it, just doing great. Like Zach and his cousin, they're doing amazing. Their story alone, is just like, wow. Because, his cousin came from, the old market and everything. And, he's the same thing. He's one of those New Mexico growers that's just killing it now.
You can taste corporate weed and you can for sure taste passion. Yeah. And all these dudes here, especially like, Zach and Eric, they got a lot of passion for what they do, man.
100%. And you can tell when it's grown with love. But it looks like the CCD gave Golden Roots 14 days. So someone had told me that they were still operating, and I had to let them know.
14 days to do what?
To give them the license to stop operating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I figured it would be a cease operation.
What's the point of even doing it 2 weeks? Like, hey, man, you got 2 more weeks to trap it. Like, get your bread up, and then.
It's probably per the CRA, and that might be one of the things that they want to be like, hey, due to the law, we have to give them this amount of time.
Give them a chance that we can maybe remedy. Or
and that could be one of the things that they want changed in the CRA, which I agree because this something like this needs to get shut down quickly.
Yeah.
Like we don't need this on our record. And also, if we keep messing up, the federal government can come down too.
Oh, yeah.
And they can come down anytime they want. But if we start making a ruckus like that, they'll come down like, hey, New Mexico's not regulating. What the fuck's going on? We're going to start raiding your shit. Yep. Since you guys aren't. But, we're kind of starting to. And I think with us changing the CRA, we'll be able to kind of regulate things a little bit easier,
I like that.
So,
Agreed.
We need to tighten it up. And I hate to say that, we need the man, but at the same time, if this is a legal market, this is a legal industry, it needs to be fair for everybody. And we need to make sure that everybody is playing by the rules. And inspections are a part of that. So you don't want to be like Golden Roots. They have almost a $300,000 fee from this or fine.
Shit.
Yeah, and they're shut down. They were only making $43,000 when they got shut down. So they're gonna have to figure that out. I have no clue because I just don't want anybody else to go through that. If you guys are gonna play dumb games, you're gonna win that dumb prize.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and
No,
that dumb prize
it sucks to
gets shut down.
suck, dude.
Yeah, it does. 100%, dude. You know, and I can't feel bad for these guys because they went out of their way to scam people.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, they scammed, Top Crop Dark Matter. They scammed whoever else that had their flower. You know, and
I mean,
they've
I'll
got-
suck for a retail to get thrown into that. Like, thank God I didn't work with them because that would have sucked.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
man, just what I needed, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now it's like crap. You know, I'm like, now I got to go to every freaking farm and look at the actual plants they're growing.
Yep.
You know, because this might happen, and I have a feeling that there's a couple more people that are operating this way, even here in town.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so we'll see. You know, it all comes out in the wash.
Yep.
You know, and if not, the rinse.
Like,
So, but anyway, that's all I had for that one, everybody. You know, that's all the topics. Do you have anything else, before that one?
No, man, I think this is great, man. I love what you're doing, dude. I think that we need to educate ourselves more.
Yeah.
We're in a great opportunity to be like, even at any state, we're like on the front line of what we do. So I think it's a really admirable role that you play, I play, everyone in this industry, from bartender to owner to grower.
Yeah.
We literally are kind of like building the future for this industry. And hopefully they'll like write a book about us one day,
Yeah.
maybe a little movie or something like that, like
Yeah.
all the struggles and shit.
Yeah.
Maybe even the Netflix special. But for now, it's like, we're doing the hard work.
Yeah. We're doing all the hard work for everybody, in the future. So hopefully they'll, at least say thanks. At least once. So thank you everybody for watching. But before I go, I want to give you guys a couple bonus informations. Wow, listen to my New Mexican coming out. So some bonus information for you guys. The CCD is having a I Invest New Mexico workshop. And what this is for is the cannabis business owners like yourself and everyone else, that few that are probably watching, a workshop to kind of get everybody educated. They're going to have the city of Albuquerque, the city of Cruces there, a bunch of other speakers. They're going to be giving tips. I don't know. They usually allow people to ask questions too. So, you can be in the chat and ask questions, and they'll have a moderator there, and they can ask a live question. So this would be a great time to learn. So if you guys are just getting into the industry or you've been here the whole time, this is a great time for you to get in here and kind of sharpen your skills a little bit, sharpen your knowledge, because the more knowledge that you have, the more profitable you're going to be.
Knowledge is power.
Exactly. And in this industry, knowledge equals money.
Yep.
So, the better you do, the more money you're going to make in the end. So I want to tell you that. Also, the New Mexico Growers Cup is going to be in Sunland Park November 18th. I will be sharing that all over my socials and everything. So make sure you follow me, and that way you can get all the information. Anything before we head out?
No, man, it was great to be here.
Yeah, I've loved having you here, man. Great conversation.
Yeah,
So I appreciate your outlook and everything. So cool.
We're just getting started, man.
Hell yeah, man. Well, we're going to get out of here, everybody. I'll see y'all next week. Season ends here in a couple weeks. We'll be back in January. So I appreciate y'all being here for this first season. We'll be back season 2, but not right now, here in a couple weeks. So I'll see y'all next week. Shoots.